Hello and welcome to this demo of the new web feature in TeaScript. You can download and use TeaScript for free. I will put the download link below in the video description. You don't need to install TeaScript. You can just unpack and use it. In the unpack directory, you will find the TeaScript executable. With it, you can execute TeaScript files, debug them, or use the TeaScript command line interface. Alongside with the executable, you will have an examples directory with a lot of TeaScript example files. With the new release 0.15, you will get these two new example files which demonstrate the new web feature. The one file is a web client, the other file is a web server. For example, the source code of the web client is looking like this. You will also get nice syntax highlighting for the Notepad++ editor. I will not explain all the source code now in detail, but just roughly, the script will first read some command line arguments. It will, depending on that, either issue a HTTP GET request or a HTTP POST request. It will then print the response from the server and then either stop or after sleeping some time, it will issue a request again. To start the demo, we first need a running web server. So let's start one in this terminal. Now the web server is running and waiting for a new client connection. So start a web client now. As you can see, the web server got a new request from a client. It prints it on the screen, sent a reply, and now it's waiting for another client connection. The client got a response from the server. I will explain the type of the response later in more detail, but just for now you can see it contains the HTTP status code 200, the corresponding reason string. It also contains all the header elements sent by the server, and you can see also the payload. In this case, the payload is a JSON formatted string. And the nice feature of TeaScript is if the content type of the payload is application JSON, it will automatically build a tuple object from the JSON formatted string. And this tuple object is this one. In this very easy example, the server just sent a JSON formatted string with one element, time, which contain a string value, which is the actual time. So the JSON tuple object also contains one element named time, which has the string value. The client interprets it and prints the value on the screen. The web client can also be launched in a loop. Then it issues the same request every 2 seconds. Of course, I can also start a second client, which also will run in a loop. So now we have 2 clients running. A second example of the client script is that it can send a stop command via a HTTP POST request to the server. In that case, the stop command is formatted as a JSON formatted string. And as you can see, the client got a 200 OK from the server. The server got the request from the client. And again, it automatically builds a JSON tuple object out of it because it is of type application JSON. The server interprets the command and recognizes it as a stop command and ends itself. The other client, which is still running, is now getting a socket error. It just prints the error on the screen. To fix this, we need a running server again. But now I will launch the server on Linux. Let's do it. Okay, start the server. Now the server is running on Linux and the client is working again. Of course, I can start the second client as well. I can also stop the server on Linux via the stop command as before. So this was the demo for the two scripts, but now I want to show you more of the web feature with the help of the TeaScript command line interface. For this, I will launch the TeaScript host application, and inside the host application, you can call every built-in function, create new variables, define new functions, and so on, like you may know it from Python or other script languages. Okay, the host application also has some internal commands, and all the internal commands start with the colon. I want to show you one of it. If you want to know which functions are present now or available now, you can search for a string, and it will display all variables and functions which contain this string. So these are all new web feature functions. We want to start with HTTP GET request, but now we want to send it to a public available server. And I will send it to the JSON test server in the internet. It offers this one URL, and you can send a GET request to this URL, and the server will just send all the HTTP headers back as a JSON formatted string. Let's try it. So I copy the URL and I will use the web get function. And of course, we want to capture the reply from the server. Okay, it worked. So this is the content of the replay variable. To display it more nicely, we can use a tuple print function. Just pass the variable and some nesting level. Okay, so the Web API in TeaScript, it will represent the response from the server as a tuple. A tuple in TeaScript can have elements which can be accessed by an index, but it can also elements which have a name, and then they can be accessed by their name or their index. So with a tuple in TeaScript, you can build lists and arrays, but also dictionaries or tree-like objects, because an element of a tuple can again be a tuple, which can have further elements and so on. And with the help of a tuple, you can also create something similar like structs in C or C++. And in this case, the response from a server, it always contains the HTTP status code and the corresponding reason string, and also a header element, which is a tuple again, and it contains all the header elements which were sent by the server. And it will also contain the payload sent by the server. In this case, it is a JSON formatted string. And as I explained already, If the content type is application JSON, TeaScript will automatically build a tuple object from the JSON formatted string. And this you can see here again. It just contains all the header elements, which we send to the server. Okay, I want to do a last example, and in this last example, I want to send a JSON object to a web server in the internet via a HTTP post request. And to do this, I will choose the Postman server. The Postman server, it offers this URL, and to this you can send JSON formatted string as payload as a post request, and the server will then answer or reply the sent JSON and some other information to the client. But for can do it, we first need a JSON object. So let's build some. I will show you first all available JSON functions inside the download package, and also on the TeaScript hosting website. You will find a little documentation for all of these public available functions. And yeah, to start with, we first build a JSON object. And let's name it JSON. And now we must pass all the desired elements via a tuple pair, which has first the key. Now we name it name and then the value. Let's name it John. Then the second element will have the name age and the value, let's say 31. Okay, we start with this. Let's check it, what we have in the tuple. Okay, as you can see, it has one element name with the value John and one element age with the value 31. So let's add an array to the JSON object. We can do this with the uniform definition syntax of TeaScript. So you just define a new element inside the JSON tuple. Let's name it my array. I don't have a better name now. And we use the helper function JSON make array. And now we can just specify all the desired elements. Let's say 3, 17, add a string, hello, maybe a boolean, maybe a floating point. Okay. So let's print the tuple JSON again. Yeah, as you can see, it still has the element name with John, age with 31, but now it also has an element myArray, which has not named elements, but also elements which can be accessed by their index. So the myArray has 5 elements, 3, 17, hello, true, and 3.145. So now we could build a request manually, and let's say send the JSON as a string. For example, we can use the write JSON string function and pass the JSON tuple. Then you can see it transforms the JSON tuple into a JSON formatted string. but we can make it more easy. We can just issue the web post function. Now we need the URL. And we can just pass the JSON tuple. And okay, we need the pass post. And of course, we want again capture the response of the server. Okay, let's try it. It worked. And this time the response of the server is much bigger than before. And let's check what we have in the result variable. Oh, no. Okay. Let's inspect it. Again, it contains the HTTP status code 200, the reason string, all the header elements. Again, the server sent the payload with content type application JSON. So you can see the payload as a string, but we don't need to interpret the string because TeaScript will automatically build a JSON tuple from it. And the JSON tuple, it's a little bigger because the JSON from the server, it contains not only our sent JSON as the answer, but also some more information like the headers we sent and some other information. So let's inspect this in more detail. We could, for example, print the complete JSON tuple, which TeaScript built for us. And so this is the complete payload transformed into a tuple. And to find our JSON, which we send to the server, it is contained inside the data object. So let's try it. If we just print the data object, there it is. This is exactly the same JSON as we sent to the server. Okay, that was all for the demo. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and you will enjoy with TeaScript. I wish you a happy day and happy coding. Bye.